Well, after all that buildup at the quarterback position, has anything changed for Missouri after Eli Drinkwitz announced that both Beau Pribula and Sam Horn are going to play? Let's talk about it on this special live edition of Locked On Mizzou.
You are Locked On Mizzou, your daily podcast on the Missouri Tigers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, all you true sons and daughters. I'm John Miller, your Mizzou mafioso and the central scrutinizer of Missouri Tigers football and basketball, again with a special live edition here for you, and a little bit more of a casual and laid-back edition of Locked On Mizzou here. And by the way, if you're joining me here live on YouTube, I will try to get to some of your live questions if indeed you have them for me as well. But so here's the deal. I would obviously want to start by explaining to you what exactly happened here. Well, just a few minutes here ago on social media, ESPN's Chris Lowe, by the way. What happened to Pete Thamel? Is he too big for Eli Drinkwitz now? Is that the problem here? Or did Pete get a dock and pay? What the heck's going on here? But no, seriously, ESPN's Chris Lowe reports Missouri coach Eli Drinkwitz has told the team he plans to play both Beau Pribula and Sam Horn at QB in the opener against Central Arkansas, and Drinkwitz wants the competition to continue from there so he can evaluate both in-game action. So my first reaction here is, has this changed anything? It certainly hasn't changed my thinking very much, because I've been predicting, well, for a few weeks now here, so forgive me if you're an everydayer for saying this for the millionth time, but I'm getting real 2023 vibes here, real deja vu, going back to the last time Sam Horn was seriously involved in a quarterback competition. That was with Brady Cook. I think much like that first game against South Dakota, I'm sticking with my prediction. I think Beau Pribula will get the start, and I think he'll play the second half. And assuming all goes well, I think Sam Horn gets the second half for Mizzou. Again, almost exactly like South Dakota in 2023. And part of that deja vu feeling is that I still have a feeling that Pribula is going to be the starter. Maybe I'm just following too much NFL football over the years. But of course, as NIL creeps into this sport, we get more and more like a semi-pro football. And I'll tell you this, when you follow pro sports, a lot of times you got to follow the money. And if you follow the money, well, I know Sam Horn has not exactly been a pauper here at his time at Missouri, but 7 figures reported for Beau Pribula. That kind of tells me most of what I need to know. I think it's going to take a lot for Horn to beat Pribula out. Having said that, I could totally be wrong. Sam Horn maybe really is right in this thing. And I think actually if that's the case, some people are taking that as a negative sign. I'm going to take it as a positive sign, because the little I've seen from Pribula, the second half he had against Wisconsin, a 3-point comeback victory at Camp Randall, I was really impressed by Pribula, not just with the legs, but hanging in there, waiting for the play to develop in some key moments that led to Nittany Lion touchdowns as well. So the thing is, while Eli Drinkwitz technically, obviously, has made an official statement here, he's saying both quarterbacks are going to play, I don't know if this tells me anything, because not only based on everything I just laid out, but also, well, 9 times out of 10 in this type of game, you sure better help your backup quarterback gets a little bit of action in this type of game. So to me, once again, this doesn't tell me anything. Even if you had a 4-year returning starter at quarterback, somebody like Chase Daniel, well, Eli Drinkwitz could still technically go, hey, I think both quarterbacks are going to play, and he wouldn't exactly be lying to you. So that's what I'll say. That's what I'll say on there. Anyway, it seems like I'm looking at the comments here quickly. One listener, Tyler, says no one should be surprised by this. It's just like 2 years ago. I bet Pribula starts the game. Another writer comes in here, another listener says, I think I'm more excited for Zollers next year. Well, I'll say this, I'm excited about Zollers too, but next year, I think that might be a little premature. I think, as I said in my previous episode this morning, actually, I think I wouldn't make too many assumptions that Horn is automatically going to be gone next year. I think most people would have assumed that Horn would have been gone already. So I'm not ready to just shove him out the door immediately. He seems like a guy who is fairly unconventional in his approach to sports. That's just how I'm looking at it. Another listener here, another commenter says, as long as we're successful, I don't care. M-I-Z. Well, Z-O-U to that, no question. For as much as I like being correct in my predictions, and I've been predicting that Sam Horn I've been predicting all offseason it's going to be Beau Pribula. As much as I like being right, you know what I like more than that? Missouri being good. So if it is indeed Sam Horn, if I've been wrong this whole time, well, obviously, I hope Sam Horn balls the F out. Good job. I only said F here live on YouTube. Good for me. Chief says he thinks Beau Pribula is going to do well, and I have to agree with him. I feel pretty good about Pribula. And to next year, by the way, hey, if you're excited about Zollers, so am I. I just think 2026, I think that's really the year Missouri could even have a bigger year than this season. I think the whole roster is really strong. I think you've got some questions there maybe on the offensive line and obviously quarterback. It's less of, I think Missouri has a question mark there. It's just, I think the second year, the more experience you have, I think everything I've seen with my experience following this sport tells me that, well, experience matters tremendously, especially at that quarterback position. So to everybody who's saying they don't care, I could not agree with that more whatsoever. And you know what? I'll take some more of your questions here in just a little bit. I do have to do just some quick business here. Let me plow through it and tell you about Rougiette. You guys have probably heard of Viagra and Cialis, of course. But are you looking for something beyond the usual pill? Excuse me, we're live, folks. It's time to meet Rougiette Ready. You're ready in just an average of 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours. Head to Rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off. That is RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit Rougiette website for full safety information. And also open phone. I can tell you as a business owner, every missed call is money left on the table. Well, that's where open phone comes in. They're going to solve all of these problems for you, including juggling two phones. And by the way, even an AI agent that handles after-hour calls. So see why more than 60,000 businesses trust open phone. They're offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnCollege. That's openphone.com/LockedOnCollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. Openphone.com. No missed calls, no missed customers. And finally, yes, Prize Picks. It's the easiest way to play daily fantasy sports. The Prize Picks app. Download it today. By the way, I'm not feeling Tyreek Hill this season. That's kind of my big insight for you. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LockedOnCollege to get $50 off in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LockedOnCollege to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. It is Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, we got through all that copy. And allow me just real quickly to take a quick sip of water. Ah, yes, thank you very much. The perils of going live here on YouTube. And Shane says Pribula can do more given his mobility. The defense will carry this team regardless of who the quarterback is. So having Pribula in there as an adding running element is a huge advantage in my opinion. Well, in my opinion, Shane, you are an incredibly intelligent human being, because I totally agree with your premise. And I think all things being equal, regardless of how much money is being spent off the field on Pribula versus Horn, that's another thing. That's a whole other matter. But to me, all things being equal, yes, the running ability of Pribula. He's a guy, not that Sam Horn can't run, but just from what I've seen of Pribula, he's a guy who's willing to put his face into the dirt. I mean, he's a type of guy who almost wants to keep it on the backside of that zone read. So just that threat there alone, there's so much statistical evidence that says all running backs benefit from that. For example, if you're going to play with a guy like Lamar Jackson for the Baltimore Ravens, somebody like Jaden Daniels, whoever it might be, these Brad Smith, for you Missouri fans, of course, these types of spectacular and special runners, well, they make life a lot easier for the running back, as much as a maybe 1 yard per carry type of difference. So to me, you're taking a guy in Hardy who was already a dynamic playmaker. You've already got a well-established zone scheme for Missouri. Now you're just, to me, building on top of a strength there in that running game. And it all makes all the sense in the world. If this Missouri defense is as good as I think it's going to be, and a lot of other people around the country think it's going to be as well, to me, that means control the clock. That means run the football. That means be a little bit conservative. And that's something that Eli Drinkwitz has shown the willingness to do the last couple seasons. And by the way, make it dink and chunk. Hit those explosive plays over the top. Because I think Marquise Johnson we know he's an explosive player. Kevin Coleman can be an explosive player. Hopefully somebody else can too on the outside. Hopefully it's Josh Manning. Maybe it's Donovan Olubade, the true freshman. But to me, I like that thought there from Shane. I think it fits the type of team that I think that they can be. I really do agree with that. And of course, I see some people, of course, being concerned and, doing the big eyes emoji to the two quarterback split and saying the old saw that, hey, if you have two quarterbacks, well, you don't have any. And there is some truth to that, of course. If you truly cannot decide on a starting quarterback. But again, we are in subterfuge season here. We're in preseason football. I mean, the NFL is a little bit more open than college, but even then you see a constant amount of lying. Well, I don't know that Eli Drinkwitz has ever lied to us exactly, but I don't know if he doesn't always tell us the whole truth and nothing but the truth either. So I'm just saying, let's just take this all with a grain of salt, especially when who's coming in week 2? Oh yes, the Kansas Jayhawks. Not only is this one of the biggest rivalry for Missouri, historically one of the biggest rivalries and certainly one of the longest rivalries in college football, that's really a game that Missouri just simply cannot afford to lose. And the bottom line is, if you can take any advantage whatsoever, then you take it. And I'm going to take an advantage right now of bringing my super cute 3-year-old daughter, Olivia, since she just burst into the show right now during my live podcast. I'm just going to hold her on my lap right now to close out the show. Everybody likes puppies and everybody likes babies, so we're going to applaud, and Olivia is going to pretend like she is famous now to close out the show. Aren't you, sweetie? So you know what? I think this is a great way to go out on top. So you know what? Thanks for joining me here on Locked On Mizzou. Hopefully after the Central Arkansas game, we'll have a more clear thought on who the Missouri quarterback is going into Kansas. I have a feeling we will, and I have a feeling it's going to be a Beau Pribula. So thank you all for joining me, as always, right here on Locked On Mizzou.